What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Real Madrid have just defeated Levante away from home 4-1 in a pretty convincing fashion. That is 7 wins out of 7 wins for Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid. They do have a perfect record in La Liga so far, and I do have to say, as a Barca fan, it is pretty concerning, but also pretty impressive as well. By the looks of it so far, this Madrid team does look so much better in comparison to last season in all aspects. They do have an actual system in place now. They're a lot more solid defensively. Xabi Alonso is making certain players work together, and he really is utilizing all of his squad. So we do have to go ahead and get into this match from certain player performances, the 5 goals that did occur, of course, and also the lineup as well that Xabi Alonso did start off with. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Your guys' support truly does go a long way in helping me out to continue these videos. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So going into this match, Real Madrid did start off with this lineup right here. When I did see this lineup right here, I was a bit confused and I was scratching my head like, what the hell? But I realized that Real Madrid does happen to play Atletico Madrid this Saturday in the Madrid derby. So it makes sense why this lineup was put out, but initially I was confused since it looks like Xabi Alonso is trying to rotate ahead of that match to keep certain players from getting injured, and also there were some players that were injured that weren't included in this lineup and so forth. So we had Fran Garcia in the starting left back position. We had Alvaro Carreira starting off as a center back, which was interesting to see. It just goes to show that Xabi Alonso may not count on David Alaba too much, or maybe trying to not risk him for injury. Dean Huijsen, he was right there in the center back position. I mean, reliable as usual. And we had Raul Asensio as the starting right back. Now that was pretty interesting to see. I mean, it makes sense though, since Dani Carvajal is the only available right back at the moment, and he did just come back from a long-term injury. Trent, as we know it, he did get injured in the last match in the Champions League, so he is going to be out for quite a bit of time, and Carvajal is only right back right now. So it makes sense why Raul Asensio started there. And in the midfield position, we have Fede Valverde starting alongside Dani Ceballos, Tchouaméni getting the all-important rest. And in the number 10 position, we have Arda Güler starting. I mean, for him, he is just now in this season under Xabi Alonso getting more and more game time, gaining more prominence. So not too much of a surprise to see him starting. And then in the wings, we had Vinicius in the starting lineup this time, and Mastantuono on the right-hand side, who really is making that right-hand side his own position little by little. It looks like he's gaining more and more prominence with this Real Madrid team. And then, of course, we do have Kylian Mbappe as the number 9. So, after talking about that whole lineup, going into this match, I do have to say that Madrid did start off the match pretty slow. If anything, it was Levante that was actually on the front foot. They actually did create 2 chances that were just gone out wide, but for the most part, Levante did have Madrid pushed back and defending for a little bit, for at least the first 10 minutes. But then after that, Madrid started getting their footing, started adapting to whether it was the stadium or, getting into the rhythm of things. But after 10 minutes, Madrid, they just started dominating the ball, and they actually did create quite a few chances. Now, I do have to say the lineup did work pretty well overall, since you did have that back 4 actually shift into a back 3 at times. You would have Fran Garcia really attacking on that left-hand side, kind of providing the width at times on the left-hand side, which would allow for Vinicius to cut inside and to actually look for those pockets of spaces. And for one thing I do have to say about the front line, and I'll go ahead and get on to Vinicius too, but one thing I do have to say about the front line today is that they look really fluid today. So in the front line, we actually did see quite a lot of rotations. So rather than each of the players sticking to their own positions, like Vinicius sticking to the left hand side as he usually likes to, we would see Vini cut inside, uh, go into the center, or even go to the right hand side at times. You have Mbappe sometimes drip to the left hand side, and sometimes Mbappe would drip to the right hand side. And Masantuano, I mean, he would stick to his right hand side for the most part, but will also try to cut inside and shoot. And basically, there was just a lot of fluidity within that front line, which did cause Levante quite a few problems. And that's the thing we do need to see more of. Now, I did say previously that Mbappe and Vinicius can't play together. And I didn't mean that in the sense that they don't have the ability, they don't have the skills. I just said that in the sense that it has to do with the mentality. They both have really big egos, and one of them, or both of them, if anything, would have to drop that to be able to play together. And they have to try to work together in the sense of moving into different positions, willing to make runs or play off one another, and just really find fluidity between each other. And we saw glimpses of that in today's match. That is actually how the first goal from Real Madrid came about. You had Mbappe in the left hand side, and Vinicius, he was drifted inside, a little bit more towards the right hand side. And Vinicius, he gets a really good goal from the right hand side from a Trivela shot, which nobody really expected. And honestly, I just to say it was a pretty good goal from Vinicius. That wouldn't be his last time being involved in a goal, but that was the first goal for Real Madrid. And even before that, there were signs of Madrid looking to score first. I mean, they were creating chances and chances before that first goal. You had a Vinicius who took a shot from the left hand side, and the goalie actually parried it into Masantuano's position, but Masantuano didn't expect the ball, and he just hit the crossbar and couldn't score that goal. But that first goal came from Vinicius Jr. And then we had Real Madrid's second goal come not too long afterwards. It actually did come from Masantuano. So Levante, after that first goal, of course, they were forced to come out of their defensive position to attack Real Madrid, try to get a goal and get back into the game. But we all know that Real Madrid could be really good at counterattacks. Vinicius, after the ball being defended by Real Madrid, collects the ball on the left-hand side and crosses the ball into Masantuano, who is in a lot of space. You have Levante players scrambling back, looking to defend, and they actually do get back and force Masantuano onto his right leg, which wasn't a problem for him at all, as he ends up scoring the second goal with his right leg. Really nice goal that he did score. Props to him. And that was with his weak foot. And that was actually his first goal for Real Madrid. So, again, I did say that Masantuano is really gaining prominence in this Madrid team. And he finally did get off the mark for Real Madrid. And after that second goal, Madrid just kept on attacking and attacking towards the ends of the first half. They were looking to put the game to bed then and there. And Levante were just holding on, trying to leave the score at 2-0 at least until halftime to see how they could manage the game or try to get back into it. So the match ended 2-0 in the first half. And in the second half, there were 3 more goals to come, some changes that were made, and more that we saw from both teams, mainly Real Madrid, if anything. So let's go ahead and get right into the second half. So Madrid, going into the second half, they did come out pretty sleepy. They were slacking basically in the second half when it did start off. You had Levante that they were actually looking to get back into the game, and they did create a few chances, and it wouldn't be too long into the second half where Levante would get a goal back. Honestly, it was really lackluster defending from Madrid when it came down to that goal. Pretty multiple occasions where it could actually have been stopped, but you have Levante score around the 55th minute or so, and before you know it, in my mind, I thought, oh, Levante might actually have a chance to tie Madrid or come back. And if this was Ancelotti's Real Madrid or anything like that, I probably would have thought that all the way through. But Madrid, I do think, responded really well after that first goal from Levante. They didn't take too long afterwards to end up scoring their third goal and just take the game away from Levante. So the third goal does come from courtesy of Mbappe. It was a penalty that was marked against them, which it actually was a penalty. You had Mbappe driving on the right hand side, looking to either take a shot or cut inside to make a cross or take a shot. But the Levante player, when Mbappe comes in, he takes Mbappe down, and Mbappe, we all know, in the penalty area, for the most part, he could be pretty clinical. And yeah, Madrid with the score of 3-1. And literally 2 minutes afterwards, you had Levante trying to press Madrid, not really organized defensively. They do get caught with 3 simple passes, one from the back, one to Arda Güler, and Arda Güler sends Mbappe on his way, and Mbappe just takes the ball around the goalkeeper and dispatches it into an empty net. And before you know it, in a matter of a few minutes, the score goes from 2-1 to 4-1. And from there, you could just tell Madrid were pretty comfortable within the match, just dominating possession and creating quite a few chances against Levante, who had just fallen apart afterwards, after those 4 goals. Now, we did see a few changes come on, after those 2 goals to make it 4-1. We did see Bellingham, Tchouaméni come on to get about 20 minutes. Bellingham actually did have a chance in that second half to make it 5-1, but he didn't get that goal. And then there would be more changes to see. David Alaba, he actually did get a chance to get some minutes in. Camavinga as well did come in. And Rodrigo also came in as well. And overall, I do have to say this was a pretty convincing win for Madrid against Levante. I mean, Levante against Barcelona, they did give them a really hard time. With Barcelona barely scraping away from Levante with a win 3-2. And for Madrid to win Levante 4-1 in their home stadium is pretty good for them to keep their 100% win streak going. And especially going into this weekend's match, the Madrid Derby versus Atletico Madrid. Like I did say, seeing this result as a Barca fan, it is pretty concerning, but also pretty impressive at the same time. I do think that Xabi Alonso is just doing really well overall with utilizing all of his team, not being afraid to try different players out and really show his authority in this Madrid team. I mean, we see that Vinicius Jr. now, he is responding pretty well. We've seen in recent matches that Vinicius, he hasn't been starting at times, or sometimes is being taken off like around halftime or a little bit later on during the second half, which honestly is good to see because it forces players like that to give you a response in order to get the best out of them. So that is good for Real Madrid at least, worrying for everybody else if Vinicius and Mbappe happen to get things right and actually can play together. Like I said, that was one of the main things I did say, that Vinicius and Mbappe couldn't play together. But I think like I said, it does have to do more with just their mentality rather than their ability, their skills. It just has to do with them dropping their egos and playing for each other and for the team rather than just for themselves individually and for the shine. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys happen to have seen the Real Madrid match or the highlights, what did you guys make of Madrid's performances? What did you guys think of the goals? How do you see Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid performing so far in the season? I really like to hear you guys' thoughts and seeing you guys engage with my videos, whether it's through a like, a comment, or anything like that. It truly does go a long way. So I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully pretty soon. And until next time, peace out.